Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a heartfelt hello to all the children watching from the comfort of their living rooms today. Welcome to the annual Long Walk, a competition like no other, where 100 young men will compete to claim the ultimate prize, absolutely anything they want. All they have to do is be the last boy walking. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Richard Manuel for helping me out with our pre-show extravaganza, giving us just a glimpse of today's competitors and covering the basic rules. And it is my honor and my solemn duty to bring you a play-by-play of the Long Walk as the events slowly yet steadily unfold. At this moment, the boys are lined up at the beginning of the route. They've been given their food packs, their canteens, and many of the boys have brought their own snacks and supplies with them. We have a full 100 participants today, and so all of the alternates have been sent home. There's a breathless sense of anticipation. These boys are ready to prove themselves as they await the major's signal to begin, and there it is. The major wishes luck to all, and the boys begin their long walk. The long walk has begun, and it will not end until there is only one walker remaining. And it's good to see that every competitor is walking. If you recall, last year, one of the contestants froze right at the starting line, and unfortunately got his ticket punched without taking a single step. But today's walk is off to a smooth start. Of course, I'm not quite there. I'm watching this from a great distance, watching through binoculars, ladies and gentlemen, as press are not allowed at the starting line. It's important not to disturb the concentration of the walkers at the beginning of this event. As they proceed, I can make out the main throng of boys walking, many of whom are wearing blue chambray work shirts and Sam Brown belts. And one young man, number 88, Stebbins, is wearing purple pants, and he's got bright blonde hair, so he is definitely easy to spot. He is already dropping back to walk by himself, while many of the other walkers are naturally beginning to group themselves. And, oh dear, we already have a first warning. Stebbins, number 88, has dropped below the 4-mile-an-hour pace. He is slowed down for more than 60 seconds, so he has received his first warning. The soldiers on the half-track, they are following the walkers, and they are now keeping an eye on his speed with their chronometers. But it seems like Stebbins is back on track. He's picking up the pace. In fact, I think this was all part of the boy's strategy to test how slow his pace can be. Well played, number 88. That's all part of hint number 13, conserve energy whenever possible. But now Stebbins must make sure that he keeps up the pace for at least an hour if he wants to lose that first warning. And by the casual way that he is eating his jelly sandwich, I don't think he'll have any problem. It really is a lovely day for a walk, folks. It's warm. There is rain in the forecast, but that's for later. Right now, it's just blue skies and puffy white clouds in the distance. Nothing but the road and pine trees and potato fields. This broadcast, by the way, has been pre-recorded. That way we can edit out some of the slow and boring parts for you viewers at home. But for myself, it is a thrill to witness the bravery of these young men every step of the way. And for those of you who claim these games are barbaric, please remember that each one of these boys not only volunteered to be here, but they wrote an essay in hopes for the chance to compete. They wrote an essay, folks. That's how badly these boys wanted to take this chance. Every one of these walkers understands the risk involved and the potential reward. Looks like number 5 has a warning. Number 5 has dropped to his knees. He is attempting to take off his shoe, frantically trying to untie his laces. All the while there is a soldier standing right next to him, eyes on the chronometer. And that is a second warning. Second warning for number 5. This is Gary Barkovich. Number 5 is Gary Barkovich of Washington, D.C. He's got that shoe off, and it looks as though he is removing a small pebble. And that might seem silly to folks at home, stopping to remove a pebble from your shoe. But for this type of competition, a stone in your shoe is absolute agony. All right, Barkovich has just received his third and final warning. If he doesn't get back on track soon, then we may witness the first ticket being punched, ladies and gentlemen. He's tying his shoe. He's back up to his feet. He's brushing the dirt off his pants for some reason. And now he is trotting back to his little group. Well, his companions are giving him a hard time about it, but number 5 seems to be shrugging it off, and now he's walking away, onward and alone. You can see the walkers at this point have made certain choices already, whether to form groups or whether to go it alone. And Barkovich is, right now at least, going solo. And he has parted ways from a group that seems to have several strong contenders. Number 70, Hank Olson, seems to be the leading member of this little cluster. But there's also number 47, Ray Garrity, the only contestant who hails from Maine. So you can count on seeing a lot of locals cheering him on as we approach more populated areas. We also have number 3, Art Baker, who's from the southern states. And number 61, Peter McVries, who stands out from the others due to a rather nasty scar on his cheek. I would love to know the story behind that little mark. Right now he's nibbling on what looks like a ball of raw hamburger meat. Well, to each his own. Up ahead, leading the way on the road, we have what we call the vanguard. It's usually about 7 or 8. In this case, it looks like we have 6 boys who are leading the way with a very swift pace. This tends to happen every year, and to be honest, it baffles a lot of people. Vanguard members don't often win this competition. Don't forget hint 13, fellows. But I suppose it is easy to forget that this is not a race. It's not about speed, it is about resilience. Hint number 6, slow and easy does it. And as we slowly leave behind the Canadian border, I can see, as I look through my binoculars, questions on the lips of the boys. Many of them seem to be getting to know one another. As in long walks of the past, we have seen strong friendships formed, as well as bitter rivalries, and I'm sure it will be no different this year. And now, as the walkers continue down U.S. Highway 1, they are approaching the first sleepy town. So, soon the boys will get their first glimpse at spectators. It's not much right now, just a couple of old men in lawn chairs outside a gas station, but that will soon change as the day goes on. Now, on the sidelines, I see a pretty young mother. She's holding up her toddler so he can get a good look. And there's some other children, probably about age 10 or 12, watching the boys with, well, looks like envy on their faces. Sorry, kids, you'll have to wait a couple more years before you have a chance to compete. As you folks probably know, long walk contestants must be at least 13 years old to enter. And now it looks like the 6 walkers in the vanguard have distanced themselves quite a bit from the original 100. And so the major has dispatched a second half-track vehicle to make sure the soldiers can keep a close eye on these members of the vanguard. Everyone is keeping up a marvelous pace. This is going to be a good walk. I have a feeling, folks. It is now 10 o'clock, which means we have just reached the first hour of our competition, with many more hours to go. Some of the boys are eating their snacks. Many of them are chatting. There's only been one other warning since Barkovich. Other than that, this group of 100 boys is like a well-oiled machine, and I have a feeling, a hope really, that these boys may go on to break records before the end of this competition. The walkers are now passing by more houses along the road, and there are dozens of spectators watching from their front lawns and sitting on their picnic blankets. There's a young lady, and she's holding a sign. Looks like she is here to cheer on the local favorite. The sign says, "Go, go, Garrity, number 47. And it looks like number 47, Garrity, is going to go for it, taking full advantage of his newfound celebrity. He is running towards the girl, and this young lady is squealing in delight. And, now they are, folks, they are full-on kissing. Rather interesting because, according to my notes, ladies and gentlemen, Ray Garrity has a girlfriend back home. And this, ladies and gentlemen, this is not her. Well, that's what I love about the long walk. You never know what is going to happen. Uh-oh. Well, Garrity has just earned his first warning, so number 47 is saying farewell to his number one fan and catching up with the rest of his cohort. And the crowd is cheering Garrity and everyone else on. It is all smiles from the spectators here as the walkers leave this little village, heading on down the road. And now we will leave you for a moment with a word from our sponsors. And we are back. It is 10:30 on day one of the long walk. A mere 90 minutes into this test of will and strength, and folks, I have just been noticing a charming young fellow, walker number 49, Mr. Harkness. And he has been walking along with notebook in hand and a pencil. He's got a crew cut and he's got glasses. He's looking very studious. And apparently, number 49 is hoping to write a book about his experiences on the long walk. But of course, he'll have to win the competition before he can really work on that book. Oh, oops, and it looks like Harkness has not been watching where he is going while he scribbles in his notebook. He has bumped into number 72, Collie Parker, who does not like being touched, and he is telling him so in so many words. But the soldiers don't seem to have noticed, so there's no warning for interference. And the walkers continue. Collie Parker's nickname, by the way, I'm told, is Friday Night, and he hails from the great state of Illinois. Real rough customer, that number 72. The other boys would do well to steer clear of him, I think. Walker number 5, Barkovich, has worked off one of his warnings, so he's got to be happy about that. He's got 2 more hours, 2 more warnings to work off, but it's early in the day, so I think he can do it. And we have not yet even talked about the odds-on favorite, the one all the Vegas bookies have their eyes on, number 85, Mr. Scram. You can see him out there on the road, striding among the much shorter lads. He's a moose-like young man, and he's had a broad smile on his face as he's walked silently among the fellow contestants. A lot of confidence with this young man. Scram recently dropped out of high school. He hails from Phoenix, Arizona, and he works at a factory that makes bed sheets. And according to my notes, if he wins the long walk, and most folks think he will, he plans to provide a life of dreams for him and his young wife, Kathy Scram, who, by the way, is pregnant with their first child. So, best of luck to the whole Scram family. Now, at this point, we are only 1.7 miles away from breaking an historic record, the farthest distance traveled with a complete long walk group. Can they do it? I hope so. There are now only small clusters of spectators on the sidelines, And even though the morning sun is starting to heat up the asphalt, most of the boys are walking on the road instead of on the shoulder. The gravel there is much too loose, and one wrong step could lead to a sprained ankle, which would guarantee a punch ticket. You can see in the eyes of some of the boys there's a bit of the confidence is drained. Nobody is really looking very tired yet, but there's not as much banter anymore. And these young faces seem to be asking, which one of us will be the first to go? Olson, number 70, is twitching his leg a little awkwardly, but he is still well above the 4 miles an hour pace. Looks like he's just trying to work out a kink or two. Barkovich has slowed his pace yet again. He had been so brisk these last 30 minutes, puffing his cheeks and trying to fit in with the vanguard group, but now he has dropped back all the way back to Stebbins number 88, like the number of keys on a piano, who has no interest in making any friends, and that is just as well because Barkovich has received yet another third warning. He is back on the brink, ladies and gentlemen. If he falls behind the pace again for more than 60 seconds, we will witness the first punching of the ticket. But this tough little rat-faced boy is not going down without a fight, I can tell. Nobody wants to lose this competition, but absolutely nobody wants the indignity that comes with being the first to fail in the long walk. The vanguard up front is coming to a crossroads now. Police are holding back traffic, and the officers are saluting the young men as they walk past. Up in the sky, there are a bit more clouds. No rain yet, but the weatherman says that will change before nightfall. And some of the boys are saluting the police officers in return, and others, well, I'm a little ashamed to say, these boys, some of them, are thumbing their noses at the policemen. But folks, you'll have to understand, these youngsters are experiencing it's a very unusual situation that these boys are in. In any other town, at any other time, thumbing your nose at an officer could mean a baton to your head or a visit from the squad, and rightly so. But keep in mind, these boys know that nothing is to interfere with the walk. And so, throughout this journey, some of the contestants will occasionally take advantage of this fact. Oh, speaking of interference, there's a woman thrusting her way through the crowd of spectators. She's shouting one of the boys' names. Percy, I think it is. Yes, it must be the mother of number 31, young Mr. Percy, who is looking very embarrassed as a policeman holds back his sobbing mother. But remember, once again, folks, these valiant young men were not forced to enter this competition, and they had every opportunity to back out just 24 hours before the start of this event. And really, what boy wouldn't take his chance? The chance to have all of your dreams fulfilled. I mean, think of it, ladies and gentlemen. Any wish will be granted. You can see the appeal. So, with all due respect, Mrs. Percy, there's no use crying about it now. The walkers are now crossing a quaint wooden bridge. Now, New England is filled with these charming bridges, stretching across gentle streams, and I think the sounds of the babbling brooks are making some of these lads a little bit thirsty as they call out for refills of their canteens. The walkers are allowed as much water as they wish to ask for. Food, on the other hand, is a different story. Walkers receive a packet of rations once a day, right at 9 a.m., assuming that they are still in the competition. And it looks like we are 1 mere mile away from breaking the record. All 100 are still in it to win it, but, it looks like, yes, I can see that's number 7, that's Curly. Number 7 has a sudden severe limp, and he has gotten his first warning. It looks like Yeah, it's definitely it looks like a Charlie horse. I am guessing Curly did not do enough stretching before the event, or maybe he's simply low on electrolytes. Whatever the case, number 7 is slowing some more. I'm starting to think we will not break that record, ladies and gentlemen, as Curly is looking to others for help, although there's nothing they can do, even if they wanted to. And now, that is the second warning for Curly. He has received his second warning. Folks, it looks like, unless number 7 can pick up his pace, we might be witnessing the first ticket punched. Several boys now are receiving warnings. Many of them are stopping to gawk a little bit or slowing down. A group of boys around number 7 have slowed down, and they've got to remember to stay focused. And that, yes, now that is the final warning for number 7. He really needs to power through that Charlie horse of his. He's crying, slowing. Actually, okay, he's starting to rub it now. He's moving faster. He's hunched over. He's rubbing his leg, folks, hoping that self-massage is going to do the trick. And you know what? It seems to be working. Number 7 is back on track. He's well ahead of that pace. There is a bright smile, bright look in his eyes. And we are now about 8 miles away from the town of Limestone, where there is sure to be a huge crowd just waiting to cheer them on. But there are a few fans, even in this remote stretch of road. There's a milkman. There's a milkman. He's standing on this milk truck, and he's shouting words of encouragement. And I'm sure some of our walkers would love a nice cold glass of milk right about now. But spectators are not allowed to help or hinder the athletes. So sorry, boys, you're stuck with water. And as the vanguard of 6 walkers continue their incredible pace, we have started to reach another crossroads with more folks standing on top of their vehicles, honking their horns, throwing confetti. It is a party atmosphere, let me tell you. Further back in the procession, number 85, Edwin Scram, a Goliath among a crowd of would-be Davids, waves to the children. Oh, wait a moment. There's a piercing cry of pain. It's Curly. Once again, it's Curly. It's unlucky number 7. The Charlie horse has come back with a vengeance. The boy has slowed down almost to a halt. He's stumbling, struggling to keep moving. The soldiers, they have left the half-track, and they are now approaching number 7, who is screaming words that are familiar to anyone who has watched A Long Walk in the past. They are words that I'm afraid will be repeated by more than one competitor during this competition. As the chronometer ticks down, we hear those words spoken by number 7, "It's not fair." The same words said by the woman chosen in Shirley Jackson's The Lottery, and they are words that are falling upon deaf ears as the crowd hushes to a murmur. And the soldiers click off the safeties of their weapons and... Well, we did not succeed in breaking the record, ladies and gentlemen. Number 7's ticket has been punched, and there are now 99 walkers remaining, and a long, long way to go.